Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of MadMan Film Room right here on the MadMan Sports Network. I'm Brian Sullivan, and today we are talking about a subject that I have been passionate for years because this man continues to be slandered as the years go on. Andrew Luck is back this year, and I think people have forgotten how special of a quarterback he is. Again, like I looked at the rankings, I looked at a few lists like quarterback rankings, the fantasy football rankings, and it's nothing egregious. He's getting ranked right around like the 12th to 15th best quarterback in the league. And to me, that's pretty absurd. People forget this is a guy who took garbage rosters to an AFC championship game, to multiple 11-win seasons, and this is the best roster he has to work with. Right now you can bet $10 and win $300 on him to be the MVP. And I'm basically here to explain to you why that is one of the best value bets going into this season. Because, again, right now, he could easily be a top 5 quarterback if he is as healthy as the reports claim he is. And again, this is by far and away the best roster he's ever had. And that's not saying much, by the way. I'm not saying this is an elite roster. I'm saying it's the best roster he's ever worked with. So before we get to maybe some of the things he's playing with, some of his new weapons, and the fact that his offensive line might actually be competent, here's just a friendly reminder that Andrew Luck is in fact good at football. So for this first throw right here, I want you to just watch the placement of this ball, because this is such an absurdly perfectly thrown ball right there on the sideline. Solid coverage by Jason Verrett, but T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck knows his abilities, knows his skill set, and gets it right to the outside, right by the sideline, where only T.Y. Hilton can make a catch. Now, of course, that requires you having a receiver as talented as T.Y. Hilton. And this year, we're going to get to really see what type of player he is. Because I watched some of the film last year with Jacoby Brissett and T.Y. Hilton. It felt like he was open every play. And now that there's, again, no disrespect to Jacoby Brissett, but Andrew Luck's on another level. Being able to see those two work together this year is going to be something special. So here's another one right here. Just Andrew Luck's ability to, in the red zone especially, make things happen. Watch, play still isn't developing. Finally finds the open man, finds that little hole. Just the way that he kind of scoots to the right, drives in this safety cornerback, I think that's Jalen Ramsey, and then he either has the option to run that in, he sees, because he's athletic enough, he could run that in if the cornerback stays back there, or he throws it. He's athletic enough and smart enough to basically kind of create pick your poison scenarios, and he zips that ball right in. Now on this next one, just pay attention to what his body looks like when this ball is released. Does a good job of avoiding that the initial pressure, and gets that ball off. That is not an easy throw to make. Look at this. That is not natural, but because his offensive line's been so bad and he's been under such constant duress, he has to be able to make plays like that, which he has been able to do. And because he delivers such zip on it, even though Julius Peppers, one of the smartest players in the NFL, one of the most experienced players in the NFL at this point, sees that ball being thrown, because Andrew Luck has such good acceleration, he misses it, is not able to bat it down, and he finds his open tight end, Jack Doyle, who could be in for a pretty solid season this year. Here's another one right here, and again, just his ability under pressure, on the run, to deliver the ball in such a perfect area. Gets it right up there. Again, one of those classic examples of a throw where only your receiver can make a play on it. Solid play there by Dante Moncrief, finds that single coverage, and as you saw, pressure was coming, but he finds a way to get to the other side, running away, running to the left, even though he's a righty, and then contorting his body. Look at his feet there. That is not the way your feet are supposed to be set. And yet, he manages to deliver a perfect ball. Andrew Luck is just so gifted. And again, we're all going to see it this year once I get to some of these other components. Here's another one right here. This is kind of similar to that first one. Just another example of the perfect ball placement to T.Y. Hilton. Just draft T.Y. Hilton in your fantasy league, by the way. I'm seeing he's falling to the 4th round. He's going to be one of the top 5 receivers possibly in the league this year. So this last one, I want you to pay attention to the timing. Because we're going to go through this a few times, because this first throw, it looks like he's just bombing it to a wide open receiver, and that looks like a throw that any quarterback in the league can make. And you know what? Maybe it is, because the Jaguars definitely break down, but you see right here, you see T.Y. Hilton kind of running at this little out route right here, and you see these two defensive backs. You see where this defensive back is looking, and right as Andrew Luck lets go, he ends up breaking. He thinks that Andrew Luck's going to be going right for T.Y. because T.Y. is drawing so much attention. For some reason, the safety here also decides to break on the T.Y. play. Now, I think what Andrew Luck was initially looking at was he thought, because of the way that, what this cornerback was looking at, that it looks like this safety here is the one that's going to bite in, and that he's going to have inside leverage. T.Y. Hilton's going to have, Philip Dorsett, I believe this is, going to have inside leverage against this defensive back. For some reason, neither of them break on it. This defensive back, there's just some terrible miscommunication there, and Andrew Luck ends up getting the wide open receiver. But even if the Jaguars did play this correctly, the way Andrew Luck lets go, again, it's right at that moment where T.Y. is breaking, where he knows that one of these defensive backs, at least, has to be conscious of T.Y. Hilton. If he lets go of this another second later, they both realize that he's going deep. There's plenty of time for them to catch up. But because he lets go of it at the perfect timing, and again, notice, for this one, he actually has time to throw. So when Andrew Luck has time to throw, he's able to read the defense, understand what's going on. And again, the Jaguars played this so poorly in this situation, which was before their defense was at the level it is at today. And he ends up getting the wide open receiver. But it really would have been Philip Dorsett one-on-one with a head start, even if it was right here against this defensive back. And it would have been an easy touchdown anyway. It just looks even easier because of the breakdown on the defense. Andrew Luck, like I just said, he is... if you ask me right now, he is the 5th most talented quarterback in the NFL, 5th best quarterback, and you can argue him at 4. Put Brady ahead of him, put Rodgers ahead of him, put Breeze ahead of him. And then if you want to put Russell Wilson, go for it. Ben Roethlisberger, I don't know about that. I'm going to give Andrew Luck that offensive line, and Antonio Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and Le'Veon Bell, and see what happens. So let's get it now. We'll move on to some of the talent that Andrew Luck has around him. Better talent than he's ever dealt with before. So I've said it before, I still have a lot to learn about the offensive line, but the Colts drafted 2 of my favorite guards in this whole draft class. If you're not, especially if you're considering Isaiah Wynn, a tackle, which I wasn't, even though he might play either one. Quentin Nelson, who was everybody's draft crush, and Braden Smith, who was one of my sleepers, ended up going about where I expected him to go, even though he was projected maybe closer to 3rd, early 4th round. I'm going to try to just show you with my limited ability how talented these 2 guys are. And again, they also added Matt Slauson, Ryan Kelly going into his 3rd year, who was due for a bounce-back year after suffering some injuries. Their interior offensive line is now loaded with depth. And they also have Anthony Costanza. He's coming back in at left tackle. He's off the PUP list. This offensive line, even if it's just half as, even if it's about 60% as good as it could be, it will be the best offensive line Andrew Luck's ever worked with. So Quentin Nelson, keep an eye on him right here. And just keep an eye on how, even though he kind of loses initially, the way he's able to maintain his balance and kind of stay and recover and protect his quarterback. One more time. You're looking at it right here. Look at the way he just, even though he's being pushed backwards, the way that he does not break and that he ends up getting back into his stance and keeping 97 away. That requires such core strength, such hip strength. Quentin Nelson is trained in martial arts, which makes him even more balanced and makes him even more terrifying. I don't care if he ends up being a bust. I will never say anything mean about Quentin Nelson. I don't want that man after me. So, this is a guy who is just so good at recovering, even if he initially gets beat. And so for these next 2, here he's right here. Just watch this nastiness as he's driving RJ McIntosh into the dirt. And then one more on the next one right here. Keep an eye on him here, the way he pulls. And then watch poor number 34. Yeah, not a chance there. And just drives him into the ground. This is a guy who just has that nasty attitude, and the Colts are going to be able to run the ball so much more effectively just from having him. And if you don't think that's enough, keep an eye on Braden Smith. This first one right here, you're going to watch, just keep an eye right out here and watch the lineman, number 71, come shooting out right there. And then the way that he kind of turns his body to get him away from where the running back is going. Now, it ends up, that ends up being a breakdown anyway. Ends up being a pass play away. But a man that big should not be that quick. Just one more time, the way he gets out there, turns his body around. That's good control. He's very just vicious. And you're going to see that again on this one right here. Keep an eye right here. It's tough to see, but just kind of watch the way he gets in and then last second switches to the second, the linebacker, number 24 right there, the safety. His ability to kind of understand what's going on, realizes that he's kind of being, helping the same lineman there, and then just slips off of him and ends up getting him. And again, I know I'm not doing a great job of explaining this, but I'm hoping that you're just at least being able to see just both like how mammoth these 2 men are. And then this last one right here, again, watch the way he kind of just right as the running back is coming in, turns away, manages to get like that side leverage on this defender. Would have cleared up a hole. Now that, ends up not being a huge gain anyway. But Braden Smith really did his job. His ability to kind of get in there, even though, he doesn't have the initial leverage. Right as the running back's trying to hit the hole, really pushes and drives him away. if you just watch them at the tape, I'm telling you, like, it's tough to find those plays, because offensive linemen, it's tough to find plays where, like, they really stand out. But just watch him and watch Quentin Nelson, if you get a chance, and watch how very rarely do they give up pressures, if ever, really, and how, and when it comes to the running game, they're always just clearing out holes for their running backs and, you know, wide receivers that happens to be screens. Adding these two to the interior line, again, along with Matt Slauson, who's just a solid veteran, along with Ryan Kelly, and along with Costanza, this offensive line has a chance to be above average. And again, I get it. People are going to be like, well, this offensive line's still not the Cowboys, it's still not the Titans, and that's fine. But go ahead and remember what type of offensive lines Andrew Luck's been dealing with. This is going to be a whole new game for him with this offensive line. Now, to continue to prove that this roster is better, Andrew Luck has two very talented, young, versatile running backs that he's going to get to work with, especially who will actually have some holes this year to run through, considering that A, the Colts will actually be a threat to throw the ball, and B, that they'll actually have offensive linemen on the inside. And you notice that, by the way, I haven't even discussed T.Y. Hilton or Jack Doyle. I mean, T.Y. Hilton, we know how good he is. Jack Doyle, I think, is perfectly fine as a tight end. Other receivers, I guess we'll see, but Andrew Luck's made it work with pretty much everybody, so I think he'll be fine there. I'm not concerned about that. But just watch a few of these runs by Marlon Mack. I wasn't super high on him coming out of college, and I don't think that he's, you know, a lot of people had him as like their super sleeper, and I think he kind of went right where he should have. I think he went in the 4th round, and I feel like that's kind of where he should have gone. But he showed more skill than I really expected, so just watch this, the way the play doesn't initially work, and then he kind of just cuts to the outside, and once he gets to the outside, he is so fast, has a nice stiff arm, nearly scores a touchdown there. On this one right here, again, doesn't really see anything going on, avoids this lineman right here, cuts to the other side so quickly, and again, nasty stiff arm, this time definitely gets in the end zone. One more run right here, this time he's actually going to slip through the hole nicely, right through there, skirts through. Imagine what he'll be able to do once he actually has some more lanes to run through, which he should this year. And, you know, isn't it nice that Andrew Luck doesn't have a 34-year-old Frank Gore with him anymore? No offense to Frank Gore, he's one of the greatest running backs of all time, but he's old school, and this is a new NFL where you need to be able to throw the ball. 3rd and 13, watch Marlon Mack here as a receiving threat. There he is, and he's just going to cut to the outside, and he's so fast that he's going to turn this not only into a first down, but another touchdown. Andrew Luck's going to have a lot of fun throwing him the ball, and he's going to have a lot of fun having him on the field. And it's not just him, because now we'll move on to part B of the running back talent Andrew Luck has to work with now. So, if you've been paying attention, which I'm sure you have been, the past few years, the Atlanta Falcons have been running a pretty nice offensive system with two running backs that are both a little undersized, good receiving threats, very fast. You know, neither of them are those bell cow type of backs, but they both get the job done. Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. And the Colts could have a similar dual backfield now like that, because you have Marlon Mack, who's going into his 2nd year, and 4th round pick, and I think Mack might have been a 3rd round pick, I screwed that up earlier, who cares, Nyheim Hines. Now, watch a few of these plays and tell me you don't see a player similar to Marlon Mack. Very dangerous in the open field, you see that right there, the way he makes that defender miss, and usually has the breakaway speed to make that a touchdown. That play he doesn't. Watch right here the way he just explodes through the hole, again, maintains his balance, gets right back to his top speed. This time he will go all the way. Imagine lining up both of these players in the backfield. You have Jack Doyle, you have T.Y. Hilton on the outside, you have any other receiver on the other side, and then you have Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack in the back, lined up on either side of Andrew Luck. Nice stiff arm there, nice second one. This time he explodes out there to the end zone as well. And then one more you'll see here, he's also a receiving threat. Screen thrown out to him, makes one defender miss, makes two defenders miss. That requires some excellent balance. Let's look at that one more time. Even after, first spin move, still recovering from the second spin move, but has the consciousness to just kind of maintain that, and he ends up picking up some decent yardage on 1st and 18, puts his team in a nice position. As I was saying, imagine lining both of them up in the backfield, screen plays, can run them on wheel routes, hand the ball off to either one of them, or, again, kind of alternate, keep them both fresh, fast legs for the whole game. Guys, again, this is not an elite NFL roster that we're talking about here. This is not the Eagles roster. This is not the Saints roster even, or the Chargers roster, or the Texans roster, or the Titans roster. But what this is this is a roster that is, when Chris Ballard first took over the GM role 2 years ago, he inherited just Ryan Grigson it is impressive how bad he was at his job, is basically what I'm going to say here. Because the roster that Chris Ballard inherited was a joke. And there's a reason that they held Andrew Luck out. They just kind of let him rest and recover. And now he has an offensive line. He has, still has T.Y. Hilton, one of the better receivers in the league, and still has Jack Doyle, a good solid tight end. He has now a dominant, well not dominant, but a dangerous, electrifying running back duo in the backfield. And he's as healthy as it. Guys, Andrew Luck has a very good chance of winning the MVP. Andrew Luck will prove once again, by the end of the year, you will stop seeing him behind guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and Alex Smith and Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers and Cam Newton. Quarterbacks that I like, by the way. I don't dislike those quarterbacks. They're all high-quality quarterbacks. But you give them those Andrew Luck rosters from a few years ago, they're not doing what Andrew Luck did. Andrew Luck is a special talent. And you're going to see here, he could end up jumping into the top 3, especially with this roster. It's going to be absurd how well he plays this year. You heard it here first. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.